Most people chase their goals, but few ever actually find their purpose.
I always say I'm a purpose finder, so I help people find their true north.
This is Megan North. She is shifting the way we think about mental health, leadership, and what really makes us thrive.
I wake up every day absolutely loving what I do, and so I want everyone to feel like that.
This isn't just about doing more. It's about living aligned, leading with courage, and finally finding your true north.
We're really good at looking at where are we going, but we often forget to reflect on where we've been.
As a female-owned IT firm in Australia, we're making waves worldwide with our mission to serve you, to spark ideas, to share wisdom, and to help you grow in every aspect of life and business. There's things that I don't like doing but have to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really just the discipline of getting your habits and making sure that you go through those processes. So settle in and enjoy today's conversation with Megan North on the Peppermint IT Sip and Solve podcast. Welcome to Sip and Solve, the podcast where we stir in smart tech, soulful conversations, and a whole lot of real talk. Today, I'm joined by the radiant and deeply insightful Megan North, founder of Find Your True North. Megan is not just a speaker, facilitator, and coach. She's a true force in the wellbeing space. With over 20 years of experience supporting professionals and leaders, she blends intuitive coaching with mental health advocacy, spiritual guidance, and real-world resilience. From publishing white papers on mental health in the IT industry to helping thousands of clients reconnect with their purpose after burnout, grief, and overwhelm, Megan brings both heart and structure to the healing journey. So grab your herbal tea, Megan loves them all, and settle in. This is going to be an honest, nourishing, and transformational conversation. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Now, one of my favourite parts about Sip and Solve is that I ask ChatGPT to write me an opening for each person who comes here, and I tell it as little as possible. So I will say, on the show today, we have Megan North from Find Your True North. Tell me about Megan. And that's what it told me.
Really?
Word for word.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what that tells me then is that you have an online presence and that people know you and the internet knows you. And there's a fair bit of content out there that it can grab. And so once I've done that, I always just want to check in on how accurate you think our friend ChatGPT was.
Definitely accurate. Yeah. And it's really interesting that it picked up the corporate piece, but also the spiritual piece as well, the corporate and the woo. Yeah. Interesting. Awesome. Which shows that I am sort of getting that blend out there, which is important for me.
Yeah.
Because that you know me quite well. So I do have that blend of very corporate, but I can be very woo as well.
And when you say woo, why do you say woo like that? Because that's what people think. It's clearly not what you think. What's your explanation?
Spirituality.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it's a play on some words at the moment because I have an online business manager. She's very technical. She's extremely intuitive and spiritual. Yeah. She's also an SEO expert, social media expert, da-da-da-da-da. So hence why it was really good to hear that too, because it's like, oh, good, all the work we're doing.
Yes.
But we were having a chat this week and I said to her, my menu on my website is too long. There's too many things we need to. And I said, let's have a play with it. Why don't we have a corporate tab and a woo? And she was like, oh, my God, because I actually hear corporate people refer to spirituality and the spiritual space as woo.
Yeah.
So, and she said, I love it. Then my guide said, I love it.
Nah.
But I think people understand it. And woo is even better than like, oh, woo woo. I just think, I don't know, when you say corporate or woo, people kind of get it.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm.
So before we go any further, let's talk a little bit about tea.
Mm.
What kind of tea do you have?
So I've got a tea too. I've got a New York breakfast. So I'm very specific about my tea because I only drink black tea and water. I don't drink anything else. So for me, my tea, and I have herbal tea as well, but tea is a really important thing for me through the day. And so I sort of have herbal teas in the morning, have a couple of black teas in the afternoon, then I have herbal in the evening. So, yeah, good. So I'm quite specific about what I like to drink.
And so you don't drink coffee either?
I haven't drunk coffee for like 25 years, I think.
Yeah, right. So I've never drunk it.
I still love the smell of it.
I quite like the smell of it too. Why did you stop drinking coffee?
Because I stopped smoking and I felt, so I was a kind of a quasi smoker in the sense of I used to have like 2 cigarettes in the evening, but on the weekend I used to smoke more. And when I used to drink, I used to smoke a lot. And when I stopped smoking, I stopped drinking coffee because I realized that on a weekend, I would often get up in the morning and sort of mid-morning, I'd have a cup of coffee and a cigarette. So I was like, okay, I just need to. And also, yeah, I'm just a bit of a wuss anyway. Like coffee is actually a bit too much for me. So it's been a long time.
Is that a wuss? Because I drink coffee and I'm like,
yeah. I can't even drink.
I feel like I want to run around the block. I'm like,
I can't drink green tea. It's that like that's even too strong for me. Yeah. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, welcome to the teacup. I have a question. If you could invent a wellbeing app, what would it be?
If I could invent a wellbeing app, probably a positive affirmation. So in the morning when you woke up, it told you something amazing about you. And maybe it also, you're actually giving me an idea because, I already have an app on the App Store, but I'm like, I wonder if you could actually, then it starts to get to know you and the things that you're grateful for. So maybe it could be a way that you're putting things in to say, I'm really grateful for all of these things in my life, or this happened and this happened. And then the next morning, it's kind of creating a really wonderful good morning, congratulations on the amazing day you had yesterday. You should be really proud of yourself, or something like that. Because then it's like words of affirmation for yourself, from yourself. Because we're really good at looking at where are we going, but we often forget to reflect on where we've been.
Yes.
So we're always like, oh, but I want to do this and this and this and this. It's like, yeah, but what have you achieved in the last week, the last month, this year? I think we forget to do that sometimes.
Yeah, I think we do.
That's
great. I love that. So then tell me about Find Your True North, which is your business. Very cleverly named because it's also your surname. So how much luckier could you be?
I know.
To have the surname?
Thank you, Darren. I know. And funnily enough, when I got married the first time around, my first husband took my name.
Yeah, right.
So when I was a Miss and then a Mrs. and then a Ms. So then when I met Darren and got married to him, I was really happy to take his name because my ex-husband still has my family name and he has children and they all have my family name. It's hilarious.
That's awesome.
I know.
It is hilarious.
It's really nice. Yeah.
Well, I told you that I told Lewis, my partner, recently that I was going to change my name because I had my married name for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, what, to like Veronica or something? And so we have Veronica jokes now. So you got
True
married.
North. Yeah.
And now your surname is North.
Now my surname is North, yes.
Love that.
So I am very blessed that I've got that name. I think it's it's not really a coincidence. It's very easy to use. And also I think people just get it.
Yeah.
Because I can sort of play on the North Star, Find Your True North, all of those sort of things. But it is really fundamentally who I am as a business person and what I do and how I help people.
Yeah.
How I work with people.
And so what do you do at Find Your True North? What's your passion? How do you help people?
So I help people find so I always say I'm a purpose finder. So I help people find their true north. So I have clients that work with me from 6 months to 12 months, and we uncover what that passion and that purpose is. Or if they already know what that is, then how do we work on limiting beliefs that you can't pursue this? How do we clear it? How do we make it clearer? All of those sort of things. So we work on that for then people to actually implement it and live it. And it's really inspiring because I've got a varying range of clients that I'm working with at the moment. I've got a couple that a couple of clients, they have no idea what their true north is. So it's really lovely to uncover that. I've got some that are living their true north, but they're being really specific. They want to achieve a couple of things. One of them is wanting to write a book. So I'm working with her to help her keep accountable because as we know, like being business owners, sometimes it's quite lonely. And you can also, we've also got so much time. I'll finish that. So she really wanted to have this book done in 12 months. So we're working through that on a monthly basis. But I wake up every day absolutely loving what I do. And so I want everyone to feel like that.
Well, and how did you get into this? Like, what's the background of what you to helping other people find their true north? Had you found yours, or?
I think it's been an evolution. So having a 20 plus year career in HR and in corporate, I coached and mentored people every day. And a lot of my roles, I was a senior HR person looking after senior leadership teams. So I helped the leaders then help their teams, to work towards something that was a goal. Now it's usually in corporate, so it's the company's goal, but it's still the same thing. And so when I decided that I didn't really want to work for someone anymore and I wanted to do my own thing, at first, so I'm a qualified health and wellness coach. I'm a mental health and wellbeing advocate because in 2014 I was in a very poor place myself mentally. And so I can relate to when you're burnt out or when you're dealing with grief. I was dealing with a lot of things at that time. And so when I first started working for myself, I had my business name was Wellness While Working. And I also then had a spiritual business as well. And so I just thought, I can help people from a coaching perspective. But as it evolved, I started to realize that actually this is really my passion and my purpose. And how can I get really focused on how am I going to help someone? And then I thought, well, actually, I wake up and I'm doing exactly what I want to do. So it has morphed and changed. And the Wellness While Working and the Angel Space Healing has dissolved, and now it's just my name because people know me. And then I thought, well, actually, what am I doing? I'm actually helping people find their true north. Oh, my name is North. Let's use that. So it's kind of been an evolution as usual for when you've got your own business. But I just, it's just about wanting to help people to actually uncover what is your passion and your purpose. Because it took me a while to uncover that as well. It's not like I didn't love my career in HR, but I just got to the point where I just wanted to do something else. Like over 20 years, it was kind of time for me to evolve. And the thought of being able to wake up and manage my own diary was a very big driver.
I bet.
So
do you think that people are born knowing what their passion and purpose is? Where do you think it develops? Do you think it changes? Do you think that they get stuck doing something just because they're doing it and they don't ever really even think that there's an option to just be really fundamentally at peace with what you get up and do every day?
All of the above. I think it depends on the way that you're brought up. So there's a lot of cultures where you're either a lawyer or a doctor and you cannot ever stray from that. So from a cultural point of view, I also think that financially people are driven by often what pays the most, how much money can I earn? And I think the statistics are there's like 33% of the population that are actually doing what they truly love, and then the other 67% aren't. I think, oh my gosh, can we flip that?
Yeah.
But it's also, I think, about having that courage as well. So there's a lot of courage involved. But then I also think that there's people that are just, when they're young, they know I'm going to be a police officer or I'm going to be this. They've got maybe an environment that's really supportive, or they don't, but then they make it happen. So I think that there's lots of different things. The one thing that I often talk to my clients about, the ones that know that there's something else, they don't want to work particularly in the corporate world anymore, but they don't know what. It's about then, how do you start it as a side hustle? Yeah. So don't be, I mean, if you're financially, got a few mil in the bank and you can step out of your corporate job and do what you want to do, but you don't have to dramatically change everything in your life. You could just start it as something on the side. Do it on a weekend, do it in the evenings, and then start to build on that. Sometimes we have these things in our head where I really want to do it, and then you start doing it and you think, oh, I don't know whether this was actually what I wanted to do. Yeah.
How do you think people know if they are living their true passion and their purpose?
Because they've got joy throughout the day, and every day what they're doing they love.
And they wake up excited to go to work.
Yeah. And that then ties into the whole piece of when you're living this way and working this way, then look, when you're starting out, I mean, I was doing all my own social media, all my own books and all of those sort of things. But I got to a point where I was like, I have to actually invest and outsource this because this is not my zone of genius. So I now have outsourced providers and people who do things for me. That is their zone of genius. And what happens is then that actually gives me space and the time and the headspace to actually be doing what I'm filled with joy about. But that didn't happen overnight. I had to learn how to do all my own social media, my own books and, all of that sort of stuff. But you get to a point where it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so only up until this financial year, I was doing my own spreadsheet for all my finances. And this financial year, I said to my husband, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's get online. And then he said, can I be your bookkeeper? And I'm like, sure, because I don't want to do it. As you know, he's an IT cyber guy, but he loves that sort of stuff. And I said to him, and he's like asking me all these questions. And I'm like, I love you so much. I really couldn't care less what you do. If you want to set it up that way, set it up that way. Go for gold. Because I just don't care. In a sense, I don't care. And I've got someone who I really trust, so I'm lucky that I can do that. But I don't want to spend my time doing that. I don't want to spend my time doing social media because I can do it, but it doesn't bring me joy. I get in my head. So,
and that's interesting. It's interesting that you say it that way, because a lot of business coaches and leaders will kind of give a very practical way of growing a business, which is basically, if you earn a certain amount of money per hour, anything that can be done for less than that should be done by somebody else. So you're not going to clean the office because you can pay somebody much less than what you can charge to a customer for your expertise to clean the office, depending on what your job is. So that's a very practical way of deciding at what point should you outsource. Whereas your position is more about what brings you joy and what doesn't bring you joy. And but if it's not bringing you joy, then, and it's clearly taking you time, then you probably don't or shouldn't be doing that job.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is that it's interesting. So Anne is my online business manager. She has had some experiences where people have said to her, you've been working for me for a year and you've bought me no business. And I've said to her, but that's not your job. Your job is to take, and this is what she's worked for me now for 2 years. She takes all of that out of my hands where she can, so that then I can step into what I'm really good at. But it's up to me to build the business. It's up to me to bring clients in. That's not her role. And so I think it's really interesting when we outsource, a bit like my husband doing the books, or if I was paying a bookkeeper, Their role isn't then to bring me in business. Their role is to look after my books. So again, I can then have free time to go and find clients, network, do that. And I think it's really important that I think that's a really important distinction to have. That person that you're outsourcing to, if it was a marketer or a salesperson or a business development manager, then that is their job. But if it's not, then it's you. I think people get really confused about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Great. Well, and I do love the what brings you joy angle.
Yes.
Because we're clearly better at things that we love.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So just while we're on the topic of things that we love, I love IT.
Really?
And tech. And my podcast is called Sip and Solve. And I like to get a little bit nosy at a point during our podcast, and that point is right now.
Okay.
And so I like to know, first of all, have a sip of tea. Do you need some more? Are you good to go for now?
I'm good, thank you.
Pour a little bit more in my cup. What computer do you have, Apple or PC?
Apple.
Okay.
We're definitely an Apple house.
Yeah, right. Okay. And phone?
Apple.
Do you have a smartwatch?
No.
Okay. So regular analog watch or no?
I don't have a watch.
Yeah.
No.
How do you tell the time?
I look at my phone if I need to, or someone will tell me.
That's a good one. So, hey, it's time to go. Or me, every time I put my breakfast on outside the office.
Oh, yeah,
I think, what's that noise?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. My food. Or what's that smell? That's more likely how I know something's cooked, because you can smell it burning. What about social media?
Social media. If I didn't have to have social media, I wouldn't have it. If I didn't have to have a phone, I wouldn't have one.
Yeah, interesting.
My phone goes off or by the side at 8 o'clock at night. I don't look at it again. I don't touch it. I don't want to know anything about it. My family knows if something's happened and they need me, they'll call Darren because he'll always have his phone with him. But yeah, so I do have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, but that's it. But if I didn't need it, I probably wouldn't have it.
From a business perspective, what would you use the most?
LinkedIn, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, same.
Because it's kind of the work that I do in a sense. Even the woo stuff, it still comes from, majority of my clients that come to me for healings or readings are from the corporate world. So LinkedIn, I think, is probably the most beneficial, I feel. But then I'm very choosy of what I put on LinkedIn compared to Facebook or Instagram. So I do different things for different reasons. It's not just if you're following me on everything, it's the same post every day. We kind of mix it up. But then that's the beauty of having Anne, because she then strategically puts things in different places. Yeah,
well, each one has different audience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what about applications on your computer? What would you use the most?
Probably Microsoft Suite. So I have, I've paid to have so Outlook, obviously for emails.
CRM, do you have a CRM?
I do. I've got an amazing CRM. It's called BuzzLink. The guy that owns it is in Melbourne. And he's fantastic. See, it's really good because it's actually a CRM that has an LMS in it as well. Yeah, and that was one of the biggest things for me, because a lot of them don't.
That's good to know. Somebody recently needed something similar.
Yeah.
I know we've spoken about this before.
Yes, yeah. But for me, that's really because, I do run courses online, face-to-face, live, but then I can record it and post it up. So if someone couldn't attend, then I can at least put the recording up and people have access to the portal. Yeah. So that's really handy, because a lot of CRMs don't have an LMS.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
A lot don't.
So, yeah, it's a very good CRM. And I also like the fact that I can pick up the phone at any time and call him. He and my husband have this bromance going on, because Darren will ring him, because Darren's an IT guy. And he'll say, Paul, Megan's trying to do this and it doesn't work, and he'll be often, oh, no, it doesn't do that, but if Megan wants it, other people will, so we'll develop it.
Yeah.
So I actually help him to sort of develop it as well, which is really nice.
Great.
Okay. Yes, so yes, CRM. Yeah.
And we did have a discussion because you noticed how many screens I have in my office, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That you prefer to just have one monitor.
Yeah, I'm just a one screen gal. I don't know why. Well, it's funny because I've just been reflecting before when we were talking about that. I was like, I can still type 120 words a minute, right? My first career was a legal secretary.
Yeah.
I went to a private business school for a year. Yeah. I was taught how to type properly. We had electric typewriters. They weren't electronic, they were electric. So they didn't have the little screen on it. So when you were typing, and we used to have like covers over the screen. So, pick your own adventure. So it was, and my mum did say to me, she said it will be, because my mum used to be a typist as well. She said it will be the best skill you will ever have. And it is, because I love the fact that I can, don't need to.
We should have it.
We should have a type off. Right.
Okay. You're on that. We'll have a type off. Because it's the same, but I didn't go to a year-long school. I went to a 4-week in my school holidays that my dad sent me to so that I could type up his sermons and marriage programs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it's the best skill that I ever learned as well.
Yeah. So I don't know then whether it was just then because when you were typing, like when I worked for lawyers, you'd have the letterhead, then you use a carbon piece, like carbon
copy.
What was it? Carbon paper.
Yeah.
Then the plain sheet, because that was the copy that you'd keep on the file. But I've just always been a one screen. I think for me, because I'm quite good at being focused.
Well, I don't think that's the reason, because that's all exactly what happened to me, and I've lots of screens.
I don't know.
There must be another reason.
I don't know. Maybe it's just that if I'm working on one
must
thing,
be similar age.
Yeah. I think we are.
That was the old carbon copy thing. But then that was my first job in IT, was teaching people how to use typewriters and have screens, because people were moving from the typewriters with no screens to the typewriter where you could have a screen and then fix up your mistakes, and then you could just print the letter out twice instead of having to use carbon paper.
Yeah. Feels like so long ago.
I'm going to ask everybody out here in the office if they know what carbon paper is.
And when you used to do a mistake, so you'd get the little bit of liquid paper, and then you'd have to roll it up and then pull it and then liquid paper it out on the other one.
Wait till
and then put it back.
Dry.
So when
redo it over the top.
When electronic, so for those who don't know, then electric typewriters then had like a little screen, so you'd type in it and then you could go back. That was a revelation.
No, imagine you could fix the error before printing. I used to say when I was doing my demonstrations, you can print 3 lines of text and then you can press the print button and go make yourself a cup of tea while it's printing out. And come back and we'll all be done.
Oh my gosh, hilarious.
Yeah. But how stressful was it when you were typing a letter and you got to the last 3 paragraphs and you were trying really hard not to make a mistake? Because if you made a mistake,
you'd have to go do
the whole thing again. Oh my
God. So I don't know whether it's just I'm quite focused. So if I'm doing some emails, I just want to see my email screen.
But don't you want to see like what they said, or if you're looking up something
underneath?
Yeah, but then you got to scroll down and then come back up again, and whereas you can have it like refer it.
Yeah,
do you use paper? You probably don't use paper either, do you?
I do use a paper a little bit, so it depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm being creative or writing a course or something like that, I might print something out. I don't know. I don't know why. It's just the way I work. Don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Focus.
Yeah. Don't know. Yeah. And also I'm quite good with emails. So I don't often leave an email in my, we've talked about this before. So yesterday I was on a mission because I had about 15 people email me from varying networking groups that I'd been to, referring people to me to be on the show.
Yeah. Awesome.
And so I was in the moment. As soon as I got the email, I was responding saying thanks, and then I was responding to the email saying let's catch up. And so I was in that mode of I didn't really need to read what was at the bottom because I just read it and I was responding.
Yeah.
I'm quite good like that.
Yeah.
I've just always been I'm not one to ever really leave an email in my inbox.
Yeah, I don't like emails. I was
Yeah.
workshop for 3 days.
Oh, yeah. So,
257
oh my gosh.
emails
Yeah. I know you. That would
that
have been
need
your
responding. But I got them down to 40 yesterday. So things
Well
are looking on the up. I just have 40 things to respond to after we've finished our podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to talk about the IT industry and mental health in the IT industry. So last year, you asked me to collaborate with you on a white paper. And I'm very interested, obviously, in this topic because I have a team of IT people, and I know that you've also worked with them, which has been amazing. So I'm interested to know what made you feel like that was a topic that needed to be covered.
Well, the reason I picked the IT industry was because my majority of my HR career, I either worked for an IT company or I supported one of the IT, the CIO in the business. Plus, I'm quite technical myself. My husband's a cybersecurity expert, blah, blah, blah. So I'm quite techie. So I was interested. For me, that also made sense that I had so many senior CIOs and senior execs that I could then talk to about. It made sense for me to be quite focused. But the other thing is that I think because I've seen in the IT industry people burn out, particularly then through working through COVID, because then everyone was at home. So you're online all the time, aren't you? And I saw the difference of when people don't have strong boundaries, or when people that work is their whole life, or they think if I'm not working 24/7, I'm going to lose my job, or they don't have enough confidence or courage to speak up. Like there's just so many things that I saw. But the other thing that I was really curious about was, as a leader, what happens when you can actually see someone struggling? How do you deal with that? And so I was really curious about that. And that became quite apparent through the results of majority of the leaders felt they weren't worried about asking someone if they were okay or if they were struggling. What they were concerned with was, if they respond and say no, what do I do about it? That was their biggest concern. Because they were like, well, I'm not equipped. What do I do if someone says I'm in a really bad place? So that was interesting. And I kind of think I had an idea of that was probably what it was, because it is a delicate subject. If you're really concerned about someone's mental health and you ask them, I mean, look, I'm a mental health first aider, so I've been trained in this. But if you haven't, or if you've never had to deal with it before, it's a really delicate conversation to have with someone. And then if you don't have any tools to respond with, people then just don't ask.
So what do you say if somebody comes to you and says, I'm not doing very well, or I'm having trouble with?
So you say, well, on the absolute extreme, usually like mental health first aid, you're taught to say, are you that, are you in such a bad place that you're wanting to harm yourself? Like, you actually, if you're really concerned about someone, you really need to ask them that. And usually if someone's in crisis, they will tell you if they are or not. But that's an extreme situation. So what I suggested with leaders was, do you have an EAP? And some of them said yes and no, so an employee assistance program. And then I said to them, so have you ever had a session? And they were like, no. And I said, well, why not? Well, I've never needed it. But why don't you go and test it out and try it? Because then you can say, as a leader, why don't you go and speak to EAP? I've used them. This was the and a lot of leaders were like, oh, I never thought I'd do that. I never thought of that practically. So point them to EAP. Just ask them, do they need to, do you want to have a conversation? And just sit and listen. Because a lot of people just want to be heard. And sometimes when someone is got something going around in their head a billion times, and someone is actually going to sit and listen to what they're saying, often you hear yourself and what you're saying and you think, oh, it's actually not as bad as what I thought it was in my head.
Yeah.
So just by listening, so ask them, do they want to go and have a coffee? Is there someone that can support them? So the EAP, if there isn't an EAP, then there's like Black Dog Institute, Lifeline. There's lots of support, and through the small business as well, there's lots of support that they can contact.
Yeah.
But it's just asking, what can I do to support you? How can I support you? What do you need from me? They're really simple questions.
I did, now that you've told me that, say that to someone recently. How can we support you? And the answer was, just asking me, that's enough.
Exactly. Because they've been heard and noticed. They've been seen.
So what in the white paper then? So that was the thing that stood out to you most in the white paper about, what was one of the other things that stood out quite a lot in the conversations that you had with IT businesses?
I think it's really interesting as a leader of where do you draw that line of I'm your leader, but I also want to be supportive, and how much do I share about what's going on with me personally? And I think that there is a fine line. Women not so much, but men I think do, because they're, I don't know, like when women are chatting, you often say, oh, and this is going on and da-da-da-da, whereas men aren't as open, I don't think.
We have to drag the information out of the boys in our office. The girls are all chit, chat, and the boys we've literally got to say, what's the girl's name? I met a nice lady. No, we need the details. Give us the details.
So I think that, sorry, the balance between the personal life and the as a leader. And I think it's really interesting because as a leader, I mean, I've led teams before, so I get this. There is boundaries that I think that you need to hold, but then the people that are reporting into you also want to know that you're a human and that your life isn't perfect, because I doubt that anyone's life is perfect. And so I think that by sharing sometimes that something is going on, or you may have a friend or a family member who's struggling, then that actually just shows that, oh, you're actually a human, you're my leader, but you're willing to share a little bit as well. Because if you've got a leader who is really stoic and you don't even know whether they're married or not, but then they want to know everything about you, you're not really going to be that open to be sharing stuff. Whereas I think that just finding that nice balance of being able to share and to show that you're a human as well. And so when I talked to leaders about that, they did notice that when there have been, and it's funny because a lot of them said like courageous enough to open up about their personal life, then that has actually then built more of a camaraderie in the team because they've seen that actually
everyone knows everything about my personal life. My kids and my dog.
So I think that that's quite interesting because we do want to know that, because people want to know, one, that they're heard and that they're being listened to and that they're being seen, but also that maybe you've got something that's going on that is relatable as well.
Yeah, relatable is good, isn't it?
Yeah, relatable.
So specifically in the IT industry as opposed to other roles, I feel, and I know, having helped people with their tech problems over 30 years, that quite often it does feel a little bit like you're a counsellor, because normally when you get to somebody's computer, they're at the height of frustration. So the easiest thing for them to do is make it our fault to start with. So we kind of quite often come into conversations where whatever the problem is our fault, despite the fact that we didn't write Excel or PowerPoint, like I didn't make the program. It's trying to help you use it. I have been blamed for how things work in the past. So being kind of able to separate the way that people are talking to you to what job you're there to do, I think is one thing. So learning how to kind of take personal attacks, because you get them quite often. But then also combining that with, then you're sitting at their computer and they've got nothing to do for 10 minutes or half an hour while you're sitting at their computer. And so then they do, like, you just have to ask them the question to keep them busy, and then you hear the entire life story. So quite often we hear things like that from the clients that we're working with. And particularly in our business, because we do some home support, we get wives who've lost their husbands, who, you know, particularly when we had a storefront, we would have at least one crier a week sitting in the office feeling terribly distraught about the fact that they've lost somebody, and there's all this data on their computer and they don't know what to do about the computer, or they've never used banking or any of those types of things before. So there is a fair amount of stress that lands on you when you're in a tech support role, because they're cranky at you because something isn't working and it's clearly our fault.
Yeah.
And then once we've kind of established that we're just here to help and we'll fix the problem, then you kind of get loaded with, here's all of my problems in my life. I can't actually blame that one on you. Here's the rest of them. And so, you know, so kind of dealing with that as well, I feel is, you know, potentially, when I think about it, I guess, I mean, my daughter's a physio and she says she gets the same thing when she's working on people. She kind of gets a dump of all of their private information.
Hairdressers, I think, as well.
Totally.
Hairdressers,
Yes. Yeah. So I guess that's common in a lot of industries. I think it's probably that it's usually been precipitated by whatever the problem is our fault to begin with, because they're frustrated about technology. If we're looking after their computers, then so there is quite a lot of that to deal with as well. Yeah. So did you find much of that?
Not really, because I wasn't really looking for that in a sense. It was more about we did sort of touch a little bit on customers, but it was more about the leaders and their teams, and how, as a leader, can you handle if someone in your team is struggling and struggling with their mental health. So it was more focused on that. It wasn't broader. I mean, it's maybe somewhere that I could go with it is broader, but I wasn't really focusing on that in a sense. It's more how within the leaders being able to support their team if they were struggling.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I guess that is a point, because as a leader, you clearly need to do that with your staff. But from my perspective, that's where I need to look after them.
Yeah.
Because they're having to deal with just tickets coming in every time. Most people will try to fix the problem themselves.
Yeah.
And if they can't, and they've been trying for an hour and a half and they're very, very frustrated, that's usually when they come to us.
Yeah.
That's usually when we're trying to have to calm them down. And so I think that's the interesting bit for me.
Yes.
So why do people come to you then? When they have so at what point does somebody know that they need to come and see you and talk to you about?
Interesting. For varying reasons. I mean, if they're coming to me to for me to coach them, it's usually because they really want to move forward and make changes in their life. If they're coming to me for a healing, it's usually because something feels off, or they're broken, or they're sick of dealing with something. If they come to me for a reading, they often just want guidance. But it's really interesting, because I always say to people who come to work with me, the fact that you've booked in, you've paid for my time, and you've shown up, you're already 3/4 of the way there. And often from a healing perspective, people come in, I've been dealing with this for years, but then often it's healed really quickly, and they're like, oh my gosh, that was easy. I said, because you've already done all the hard work. They're showing up and actually saying, I want to change this. This is no longer working for me anymore. I actually think is the hardest place to get to. Then when you've decided that, moving forward is really easy. It's interesting. Yeah. So, or they may have, we might have just been having a conversation. I was at a networking lunch a couple of months ago, And I was talking to one lady about what I did, and then she went and got this other lady at the lunch, and she said, you need to speak to Megan. And like the week later, she's a 6-month client of mine because I was exactly what she was looking for. Yeah. So it was also, sometimes it's just timing. Because she loved the fact that I said to her when we're doing coaching, I said, I don't use goals. I don't like the word goals, because if you set, so I see my clients every fortnight. If you set goals for the next fortnight and you come to me after 2 weeks and you haven't done them, you feel like you've failed. Yep. So we experiment. Why don't you experiment and see if that works? And then if it doesn't, you're usually in that mindset of, oh, well, actually I experimented and I tried and it didn't work, but then I tried this and this worked. And that was the one thing that I hooked her on, because she said, oh, I love the idea that we're going to experiment all the time. It was funny.
Yeah.
And it really does work, because if we're putting goals in place, you can feel like you failed. Because we have this thing in our mind that this is what I want to change and this is what I expect the outcome to be. Yeah. But once we start testing it and seeing if it's really realistic, sometimes it might be, but then other times it's not and it needs tweaking. But because it's a goal, we feel like, well, I put that goal in place and I didn't achieve it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're experimenting with it, you're then working, you're a bit more flexible, you're actually having more fun with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an interesting way to look at things.
It reminds me of when we do a software development for somebody. Whenever you start a project, you kind of say, here's our phases and this is what we want to achieve by each end of phase. And you can guarantee every single time once you start the project, it changes halfway through. And then everybody's all upset because we haven't reached that timeline with the amount of money and the time that we said it was going to take, because as soon as you start, you get all these other great ideas. You said, well, we could do this. Oh my God, if I can do that, could I do this as well? Yes, we can do that. Let's throw that in.
Yeah.
And so very similar.
Yeah.
So we probably need to change the wording. Experiment.
Yeah, because goal is very hard.
We'll find along the way.
It's got a really hard energy to it. I had a woman that I worked with we only worked together for 3 months because there was one thing in particular that she really wanted to work with me on. And she had it in her head that she had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do a meditation, to journal, to light a candle, to do these things before her 2 kids got up and her husband, so that then she could make their breakfast, pack their lunches at it. So 5 o'clock was her thing. And I was like, okay, where did the 5 come from? And she's like, well, it just makes sense that for all the things that I've got to do. So over the 12 weeks, we experimented, and she found her sweet spot was 6:30.
Yeah, right.
And because she was naturally waking up at 6:30, there was no stress. She found that she was in a different headspace. But we experimented from week to week to week. And this thing that she had in her head was stressing her out so much. And in fact, naturally, then she was getting an extra hour and a half sleep a day. So she was waking up. She wasn't stressed. She felt better. She was rejuvenated. And then she found that everything was smooth, and everyone in the house changed as well.
Yeah, right. And that she was, I'm going to guess, able to do the same thing in half an hour that was taking an hour and a half before.
Yep.
I just said that today because I thought a meeting was at 10:15. And I had 3 things I wanted to do before the meeting, and I smashed them out in that last 10 minutes. And people were late to the meeting, which was great because then I could finish it the way that I wanted to finish it. And then nobody turned up to the meeting, and then I realized the meeting was at 11:15. And so
it was like, woohoo, I've done my 3 things.
Great.
Yeah.
But if that hadn't have happened, if there hadn't have been that kind of deadline, I just think you give yourself a small amount of time and you just get stuff done.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what I did for the next 45 minutes. Like I just walked around doing this and that because I'd already done my 3 things that I would have done in the hour if I hadn't have had the deadline. So yeah.
And I think for her also the biggest thing was her 2 boys and her husband weren't stressed anymore because the whole thing ran smoothly in the morning, because she wasn't going, oh my God, I should have been up since 5 o'clock, because she didn't have that energy anymore. So the whole, she was saying to me, oh my gosh, the boys get up and they're so calm. And I'm like, of course they are, because you are. So it's really interesting. So sometimes we've got these things in our head and they tick over, But actually, if you experiment and just play with it, what works, what doesn't? Yeah.
Rather than strict expectations.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so to finish off with then, let's talk a little bit about our true north. How do you find it?
It's an interesting process that we go through.
Yeah. So you have a formula to get there?
Well, I mean, over the 6 months, there's a particular space that we go through.
Yeah.
There's particular things that, like, so I look at limiting beliefs, why you're not doing it, what have you grown up with? There's lots of things. What does light you up? So we talk about what are you doing right now, and is there anything in your life that you do right now that lights you up?
Yeah.
Like in your job or personally. And then it's like, okay, well, if there's nothing in your job but it's personal, what is it? So one of the clients I'm working with at the moment, she is in a very big senior executive corporate role, but she really loves books, and she's thinking maybe she would like to buy a bookstore and have a cafe attached to it and that sort of stuff. I could see you doing that, actually. It's not you, by the way, but just so the team knows.
The local bookstore down the road has a dog library.
Right, there you
and
go.
The dog library's full of twigs.
Love it. Love it.
It's just like this little bowl full of twigs with a sign on the top that says dog library.
That's very cute. That's very cute.
Yeah.
So we then just go through a process of, well, what would that look like? Is that actually a feasible thing? Because sometimes your hobby, you mightn't actually, it lights you up, but then if that becomes a job, then it may not light you up. So there's all these things that we explore. The other thing that I do I really combine the corporate and the woo, because I have this, our very lovely mutual friend Andrew always says to me that my gift, and I know that this is one of my strongest gifts, is I can be in a boardroom facilitating a meeting and be very corporate, and an hour later step out and do an angel card reading for someone. I'm very good at stepping in and out of that. And so with some of, like, depending on from session to session, like the one that was talking about the bookstore the other day, we had a very strategic hour together because there was something specific that she really needed to work on. And I said to her, we're not going to do any woo today. We're actually going to be really strategic. Are you okay with that? And she goes, yeah, I get it. But then sometimes I feel there's a blend because we might be talking about limiting beliefs. Well, where did they come from? How did you grow up? What did your childhood look like? What did your parents bring in for you? So then we might need to do a healing on that. I might need to get some cards out. Like there's this really beautiful blend. So we kind of go through this journey. There is a structure to it, but sometimes we might turn up. My client on Monday morning, she was like, I don't want to talk about anything that we've spoken about for the last fortnight because I need some help with this. I was like, fine, no problem. Let's go for it. So it needs to roll and evolve as well. So in a way, we've got a structure, but then there's also some experimenting that we do as well. But it's really interesting. It's so what lights you up? Is it in your work? Okay, well, if it is in your work, great, because we can work with that. If it's personally, is that really realistic, or is that a long-term goal? And if it is, then how do you bring more joy into the job that you're currently doing? So we work on that and strategize that. We look at values. So values are really important. Are your values the same when it comes to work to personal? And if they're different, then why? If they're the same, that's okay. But then how do we work on those as well? So there's a lot of stuff that we work through to uncover it.
Amazing.
It's a fascinating process to go through.
So if people want to find their true north because they feel like they don't have it, and I guess maybe just before we ask that question, how do you know if you're on the path to your true north?
Well, I think that you finding that you're doing things that really light you up. So you start to become quite, I think there's like a self-awareness of thinking, oh, actually, I've noticed when I do this in my job, I really don't like it, but when I do this, I love it. Or personally, I really would love to start this as a business because it really brings me joy. And I think that I think self-awareness is really important, because people aren't going to come and work with me if they're not self-aware. There's something that's going to trigger them to think, what I need more joy in my life. Like if you're getting up every day and there's no joy in anywhere, that's sad.
Do you think that there's a percentage balance of joy versus stuff that just has to be done? Like I know every morning I get up and I make the bed and I have this routine of things that need to be. Like I hate making the bed.
Yeah.
I don't like cooking. I don't like there's things that I don't like to do. And in my job, I don't like to have to call customers and say, can you pay your invoice?
Yeah.
Like there's things that I don't like doing but have to be done and that's really just the discipline of getting your habits and making sure that you go through those processes. But there needs to be some kind, like you can't just be 99% joyous all day.
Well, you could be.
I mean, I'm pretty on that up end of,
I know,
of positivity. But
we're still human. We like,
But you still have to do stuff that you don't like.
Yeah.
And I guess some of the younger generations may be a little bit more averse to, I don't want to do that because it doesn't make me happy.
Yep.
So I'm just not going to do it. Like there's some things you just have to push through.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a little bit of a, I don't know, I was saying like discipline really is just like just getting through stuff that you don't want to do.
Yep.
Just to get to the stuff that you do want to do. So, but I guess there's that balance.
Yeah.
Does it have a percentage? I reckon maybe it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I think it would be different for everybody. But it's also like our mindset. It's incredible what we can change our mind to. So I'm the same. I love my bed being perfectly made, but to make it, I'm not really joyous about it. Yes. But what I do is I time myself of how quickly I can make the bed.
Ooh.
So I've kind of made it in the sense of, the other thing that I also noticed too was my tea that I drink. I brew it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I am shocked at how many things I can get done in 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah. Right.
I can make the bed.
Yeah.
I can put a load of washing on. Yeah. And then you go, and then I think sometimes has the timer not gone off? And then I come and I've still got another minute to go. Because I'm like,
so you actually set a timer.
All of that in 4 minutes.
That's a good idea.
It's
because
amazing.
I would set the timer for 5 minutes and then go to the laundry and change something in the laundry and then forget and then go pick something up from another room and then 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah. So if I'm brewing my tea for 5 minutes, I'm like, what could I get done in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
So then that has shifted my mind to when I look at the bed and I think, well, I know it only takes me 2.5 minutes to make the bed, so I'll just do it now.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing.
2.5 minutes, you reckon?
Well, maybe 3. Maybe 3.
Okay. All right, we're going to have a bet off as well. So I'm bed aching tomorrow.
But I think our mindset is really incredible. Like if you're going to do something, so for instance, like before I knew I just had to do my book, so I just did it. Because I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And also I shifted it into the joy of I'm taking account of how many beautiful clients I've got and they're paying me to work with them. Yeah. So I shifted that into, and also then, oh my gosh, I've got joy because I've got money to pay people who do things for me. Yes. So I shifted that completely into that because I knew at that time I had to do it. Now I'm like, well, Darren, you can take care of it. But I still have the joy around all of that, but I just changed. Like you can change your mindset. It's amazing. If you actually tell yourself that you hate doing something, well, you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
But if you tell yourself that I've got to do it and I'm going to do it in 5 minutes, then it completely shifts it. So is there a balance? Probably. I mean, there's probably most of the time. I mean, we are humans. I still have emotion. Like I still get sad. You know, I lost my mum 11 years ago, my dad 9. I still have moments every now and then that I like burst into tears because I miss them. I'm a human. So I think that, you're right. It can't be 100% of the time because I think you might be a bit unrealistic. But I think that you can have majority of all day for you can be joyous. And then you've just got those other things.
think that's a good idea. Let's start setting the timer.
Yeah.
All right, that's amazing. So if people want to get in contact with you, how do they do that?
They can jump onto websites at megannorth.com. They can follow me, Megan North Star. So I've got a YouTube channel as well for my TV show, so they can jump on there. Or they can just email me. They can contact me, connect through my website. There's also a book in a chat as well. So just go to the website. It will, probably be the easiest way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Yes.
Well, it's been absolutely lovely.
Thank you. I've loved it.
For coming.
Thank you. A little bit more structured than our usual chats.
A little bit more.